playing in the key of D on a banjo that's tuned to the key of G is to put a capo on the 2nd fret and play out of a C position. That raises the pitch to the key of D. There will be times, however, where you wish you had that low open D string. Let's say I'm going to do Folsom Prison Blues. Boom, I don't have that note. So if I take off the capo, I still have those other notes, just playing a bar here. And there's my low D. In this video, we are going to explore the approach that 3 of the masters used when playing in the key of D without a capo. First, we'll take a look at Scruggs style, Earl Scruggs, then Don Reno's approach where he used single string with thumb and index finger, and lastly, Bill Keith's melodic style approach. When trying to apply Scruggs style playing where you use chords and rolls, quite often you will retune this 5th string to A. Right now I have it at G, and there's many times when you leave it at G, but if I'm playing a D chord and I go to hit that 5th string, sounds a little bit off. So for those of you with your spikes in the Scruggs style playing, you're going to want to put it under the 7th fret A note, and then you have a note that blends in with the chord. There is only one note different from the key of G notes to the key of D, and that note is C sharp, which is right here at the 2nd fret on the 2nd string. Because of that, we will not need to play with our 1st finger at the 1st fret. We'll cheat up 1 fret when finding the notes of our D scale. You'll notice that I put the 4th fret on the 3rd string in parentheses. That gives me the same pitch as the open 2nd string. And then I put the 3rd fret on the 2nd string in parentheses, which gives me the pitch of the open 1st string. And that's because there will be times when, with the way we work our melody, we will need those notes fretted instead of open. The 3 main chords in the key of D are D, G, and A. So combining parts of those chords with notes from the scale and using some right-hand rolls, mostly forward rolls, a couple alternating rolls, we can play an entire solo in Scruggs style. So here's the wreck of the old 97. 1, 2. So the final melody note was the open 4th string followed by a tag, and that tag is being played off this very useful position of your 1st and 2nd fingers on frets 2 and 3. Let's now take a look at another very famous song that gets performed in the key of D, the song Faded Love. It'll use all of the same positions with the one exception that it is going to conclude its melody on the pitch of the open 1st string. And we will get that note on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. So see if you can see the similarities so you start to understand how to play in this position using D, open G, and A chords. 1, 2. Another way to improve your dexterity of playing in the key of D is to try to mimic licks that you already know in the key of G. Beatles' famous tag lick. I'm going to put my 5th string back at A, and I'm going to play that same sound off of this shape using fingers 1, 2, and 3. This is a shape that you've used in the key of G up here at fret 8. We sometimes call it an E minor shape or the Cumberland Gap shape. Move it down here to fret 3 and you can play this lick. Notice I pushed the pinky just a little bit just to mimic the slide. Some people can't get their pinky all the way to fret 6. Well, you can do that choke note at fret 5 and it sounds great too. There's a nice trick for playing solos higher up the neck in the key of D. Relative to the key of G, any solo that you have that is all fretted notes between frets 8 and about 12 can be played. Here it is in the key of G. That can be played by moving it down the neck 5 frets. So here we're going to play Lonesome Road Blues between frets 3 and 7 with our pinky coming up to fret 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Just a quick mention before we head into fiddle tunes in the key of D played in Reno and Melodic style, Keith style, that I have a complete book playing in the key of D, 64-page book complete with sound files for every example and song that's in the book. If you'd like information on that, just see the video description for details on how to order it. Literally hundreds of fiddle tunes have been written in the key of D. Here are just a few of the more popular ones that you might hear at your local bluegrass jam. To understand how Don Reno might have approached playing these key of D fiddle tunes, let's go back to our scale, and this time I will play the fretted equivalent of the open strings. Pay close attention to the right hand as every other note will be played by the thumb and the index finger. Using this approach, we could play a melody such as Whiskey Before Breakfast. 1, 2, 3, 4. To be able to play in the key of D further up the neck in Reno style, you simply have to know where those key of D notes are. Here's a little pattern. It doesn't sound like a regular major scale, and that's because the D note, that's the root, is right in the middle of all those notes. But this does give you the notes that outline the 3 main chords. D as a bar chord at the 7th fret, G still at the 7th fret in a D shape, back to the 5th fret for your A chord in an F shape. So here is Whiskey Before Breakfast again, played an octave higher out of this new pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll notice when performing a fiddle tune in the key of D, Reno style, you never even hit the 5th string, so it could stay tuned at G or be in A, probably just depending on how you like to hear it if you're doing some rolls. So going to melodic style, we specifically want that 5th string at G, because it becomes part of our scale. In melodic style, you try to avoid hitting the same string twice in a row. To take the scale all the way down to the open note D, 4th string, we do have to hit a couple notes in the Reno style first. Starting right here, we're in full melodic style where we never hit the same string twice. And here's the C sharp note. So there's 1 octave. As I continue on, feels like I'm playing key of G until I come up to this C sharp note on fret 11 on the 5th string. So we'll conclude our key of D studies playing Whiskey Before Breakfast in the melodic style. You can see that some of this material will get pretty challenging, so like any course of study, you need to spend some time with it to really get a grasp of it. But good luck going forward in the key of D, and here's Whiskey Before Breakfast one last time. 1, 2, 3, 4.